All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle, well, maybe the most complex thing in the entire universe, and that's you, the human body. It seems impossibly complicated, right? But here's the thing. Understanding it doesn't have to be. We're going to build a kind of mental toolkit, a way to make sense of it all. So, you ready? Let's do this. So, here's the big question. How do you even begin? I mean, if you just try to memorize a giant list of every bone, every muscle, forget it. You'd be totally lost in like 5 seconds. The secret, and this is the whole point, isn't about memorizing. It's about having a framework, a way to organize everything so it clicks into place. And that's exactly what we're going to build right now. And our journey starts with just one word: anatomy. But what's really cool is where this word actually comes from. It's Greek. You've got ana, which means up, and tome, which means a cutting. So get this. Anatomy literally means to cut up and see. And that's the whole idea, isn't it? Taking something incredibly complex, breaking it down, and looking inside to see how it really works. Okay, so to get a handle on all this beautiful chaos, experts use a really simple but super powerful first principle. They basically just split the whole study of the human body into two huge categories. That's it, just two. It's all about its structure and its function. So on one hand, you've got anatomy. That's the what. What are all the pieces? What are they made of? Think of it like a computer's hardware, the physical chips, the screen, the keyboard. Then on the other hand, you have physiology. That's the how. How do all those pieces actually work together? How does your heart know how to pump blood? That's the software, the code that runs the machine. You obviously can't have one without the other, but splitting them up like this, that's the key to not getting overwhelmed. All right, let's zoom in on just the hardware for a second. We're going to stick with anatomy. Now, it turns out there are two main ways to look at it. Think of them as two totally different kinds of maps for navigating your own body. And these two maps are pretty different. First up is regional anatomy. This is kind of like a geographical map. You pick one area, like your arm, for example, and you study everything in that region. The bones, the muscles, the nerves, the whole shebang. The other way is systemic anatomy. This is more like a subway or transit map. You pick one system, say the cardiovascular system, and you follow its lines all across the entire body, from the central station, the heart, all the way to the tiniest blood vessels in your toes. So when we talk about that transit map approach, we're usually talking about one of the body's 11 major organ systems. You know, you've got the skeletal system, that's the scaffolding, the muscular system, the engines, the nervous system, the body's internet. Each one has its own specific job to do. But, and this is so important, they're all talking to each other all the time. No system is an island. They're all working together. Okay, so that's enough of the big abstract ideas. Let's make this real. Remember what anatomy means? To cut and see? Well, let's do that. We're going to take a virtual slice right through a limb and literally peel back the layers one by one. So if we start from the outside and work our way in, here's what we'd see. First, you've got the skin, right? That's our protective wrapping. Just under that, you get to the superficial fascia, which is a kind of fatty, insulating layer. Go deeper still, and you hit the deep fascia. This stuff is tough, almost like a non-stretchy casing that holds all the muscles together. And inside that casing, well, that's where you find the muscles themselves, the engines that let us move. And then, right at the very center, holding it all up, is the bone, the core structural framework. That little cross-section gives us a fantastic look at one specific region, right? But now, let's pull the camera all the way back out. Let's get the big picture again. How does the body build itself up from the tiniest parts into us? Well, it's all about levels of organization. It builds up step by step from the simple to the complex. Think about it. At the very bottom, you have the chemical level, just atoms and molecules. Those atoms and molecules come together to build cells, the basic building blocks of life. Then, groups of those cells team up to form tissues. Tissues band together to create organs, like your heart or your lungs. Those organs don't work alone. They form an organ system. And finally, all 11 of those systems cooperate in perfect harmony to create the entire organism, to create you. So, here's the most important thing to take away from all of this. The goal is not to memorize every single part of the body. That's impossible. The real key, the secret, is to understand the frameworks that we use to organize everything. It's knowing that split between structure and function. It's knowing you have two different maps, region and system, and it's understanding that hierarchy from simple to complex. Once you get those big ideas, all the little details suddenly have a place to go. It all starts to make sense. At the end of the day, what we're looking at isn't just a random bag of parts. It's an incredibly elegant, organized system of systems. It's a design where everything, from a single tiny molecule all the way up to you as a whole person, has a specific purpose and a place where it belongs. So that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? What does this amazing order that just emerges from such simple beginnings tell us about life itself?